My name is Jace Holloway. I'm 33 years old, and depending on who you ask in my family, I either don't exist, or I'm the mistake that never stopped haunting them. The Holloways built their name on legacy, southern charm, and perfectly timed investments. I built mine in silence, with no inheritance, no applause, just concrete, contracts, and consequences. While my sister Lila threw charity galas and wore heirloom pearls, I was rebuilding downtown Atlanta from the sewer lines up. I've always been the outlier, the liability, the wrong kind of Holloway. And after what they did to me 5 years ago, I swore I'd never come back. But today is Lila's wedding, and they have no idea the man they mocked is about to walk into their perfect day and set the entire thing on fire. They shouldn't have erased my name. I came back to engrave it in stone. The iron gates of Highgrove Edge creaked open like they remembered me. Red brick. Black shutters. Magnolia trees bowing in the wind. Nothing had changed except the plaque at the front. Private event, Holloway Vale wedding. No media. No uninvited guests. I ran my finger along the edges. The letters were sharp. Recently engraved. Inside, valet boys in matching vests loaded cars, each worth more than the year I spent funding public housing projects. A security guard barely glanced at my ID. The badge was fake. I made it last night. He nodded once. Go on. The ballroom was dressed like royalty had thrown up on it, chandeliers, velvet-draped tables, a band warming up in tuxedos that cost more than my first apartment. Voices. Champagne. Shallow air. And there she was. Lila. White dress. Diamond earrings. Smiling with her entire face, but never her eyes. She hadn't seen me yet. But her maid of honor had. Did someone let the help in? A few people chuckled. I didn't. I kept walking. You're in the wrong place, she said again, louder. No, I said. I built this place. She blinked. But I was already gone. I stepped into the west corridor, my corridor. The one I designed with hidden steel beams, soundproof insulation, and an emergency sublevel no one ever bothered to ask about. It smelled like lemon oil and new contracts. I checked my phone. 5:14 p.m. Notification, property title modified, Highgrove Edge, NC. My lungs stopped. I clicked the link. It opened a secure real estate ledger I'd accessed 100 times before. My name was gone. Ownership transferred. 2 weeks ago. Signature matched. Authorized by Loden and Crown Holdings. That's my shell company. I never signed it. No alerts. No trail. Someone used me to take me down. A cold sweat ran down my back. I tapped the encryption ID, every asset I owned in Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee, all routed through that company. All exposed. I clicked into the file history. Signature uploaded from IP address, Wilmington, North Carolina. I hadn't been in Wilmington in years. But someone I knew had. I moved through the maintenance hallway. The backup server room was still exactly where I left it, behind a false wall next to the wine cellar. My access code still worked. 17360. Door slid open. Inside, whirring fans, hum of electricity, cold steel. I plugged in the drive. Data downloaded fast. Ownership logs. Power of attorney. Backdated documents. One name showed up on 4 different authorizations. Beckett Vale. The groom. Lila's fiancé. The man standing next to my sister right now, toasting to our beautiful future together. My fingers clenched around the USB. A voice behind me, we thought you'd try this. I spun. A man stepped forward from the shadows, dressed like venue staff, but I knew better. His badge said Holloway Security. Private. Clean. Quiet. He reached for the earpiece. Found him. I didn't wait. Elbow to jaw. He staggered back. I grabbed the server room door, slammed it shut, and bolted the latch. 1 minute. Maybe 2 before backup came. I uploaded the USB contents to a cloud vault. Encrypted it. Triggered the time delay for 6 p.m. Then I ran. Back in the ballroom, everything looked perfect. Crystal glasses. Laughter. A violin string rising like it was the happiest day anyone ever lived. They had no idea. The control room sat above the stage, behind a false mirror. I reached it through a narrow spiral stair. Inside, screens. Audio feeds. Camera toggles. I watched Lila take the stage. Beckett beside her. Smiling. Then the maid of honor leaned in and whispered something. Lila's smile froze. She looked up, right at the mirror. At me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You have no idea what you just started. My name just vanished from every legal page I ever bled for, and someone's about to pay in full. The chandeliers hummed above me like they knew. Glass clinked. Someone laughed too loudly. The band dipped into some jazz variation of a Coldplay song, and it made my teeth itch. I watched from the mezzanine, eyes tracking my sister's every move. Lila Holloway looked like she stepped out of a bridal magazine, hair in a braided crown, gown tailored to perfection, smiling for photographers like she hadn't helped erase her own brother off legal record 2 weeks ago. She smiles like she's never held a knife, I muttered. Below, Beckett Vale kissed her temple. Groom. Businessman. Liar. The man who transferred ownership of Highgrove Edge using my own company as the conduit. And Lila had signed the damn authorization. Blood recognizes blood, but betrayal feels colder. I moved. Fast, quiet. Back through the stairwell, down to the hallway past the catering staff. The control room was locked again. Someone had been here after me. Changed the access code. Noted. Instead, I cut left toward the west wing, my feet gliding across the marble. A soft scuff behind me. I stopped. Silence. The feeling again, watched. Not paranoia. Pattern. Pressure. I knew it too well. You never walk into a Holloway party without a plan, I whispered. And never without eyes on your back. I ducked into the lounge. Empty. The door clicked shut behind me. Jesus, I spun. Harlan Price stood by the bourbon cart, pouring 2 fingers into a crystal glass. His silver hair glinted under the sconce. Was wondering how long it'd take you to show, he said. You've got 30 seconds before I get labeled as harboring. You knew they transferred it, didn't you? I asked. Harlan drank. I advised them not to. Lila? She didn't blink. Said it was what her fiancé wanted. And Beckett? He knew exactly which signatures would trigger the override. Used an out-of-state proxy filing in Florida. You didn't catch it because they logged it under a temporary ID. Legal, technically. Ethical? No. I stepped closer. How do I undo it? You can't. Not in time to stop the wedding. What do they want? Harlan's eyes narrowed. You. Static hit my ears. I walked backward, out of the lounge, into the hallway. My phone buzzed. Unknown, leave. Or we'll make sure you disappear a second time, permanently. Beckett. I opened my secure app. Pushed the backup vault again. Uploaded another layer, encrypted files from Loden and Crown. Shell company papers, offshore holdings, bank flows out of Wilmington. Each one with an access trace tied to Beckett. I looked up. The hallway cameras rotated. Slowly. Too slow. They weren't tracking movement. They were tracking me. I turned the corner and stopped dead. Serena Holloway stood there, godmother, family fixer, board member of 5 family-owned firms. She wore a navy gown. Pearl brooch. Eyes like steel. "Jace," she said, coolly. "You look thin. You look guilty." She smiled. "Why are you here? Why do people attend weddings?" Her eyes narrowed. "This is your sister's moment. You wouldn't want to ruin it." "No," I said. "But she might regret ruining mine." Serena's smile dropped. "You know, they say revenge is a fire that consumes the vessel." "I'm not burning," I said. "I'm the match." Cut. Ballroom. Guests were seated. White rose petals. Gold-accented name cards. Someone passed champagne. Cameras clicked. The minister adjusted his tie. I sat in the back row. No one noticed. Except Lila. She looked over her shoulder once, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. Then it was gone. Like she'd buried it. The ceremony began. Vows. Promises. All hollow. My hand moved under my jacket. The USB was still there. Ticking time bomb. Thunder rumbled outside. Just above, the projector systems waited. Timed feed. 6 o'clock. Public. Undeniable. I leaned forward. Whispered to myself. Some families inherit money. Others inherit lies. The projector hummed as it warmed up. The minister raised his hand. If anyone objects. Then. A shout. From the side entrance. Security rushed to the front. Someone yelled, "Check the servers, he's inside." People turned. Lila's face turned pale. She looked at Beckett. He didn't move. I stood. Eyes on me now. I smiled. They didn't just steal my land, they're erasing me like I was never born. Panic rippled across the ballroom like dropped glass. It started in whispers, then voices, then shouts. I didn't blink. I stepped into the aisle. Eyes turned. Half the guests didn't recognize me. The other half looked like they'd seen a ghost. Lila locked eyes with me. She flinched. Beckett didn't. He grinned. A flick of the corner of his mouth. Controlled. Calculated. Of course he expected me to show. Jace? Lila said. The microphone picked it up. Her voice echoed across the room. Beckett stepped forward, hand outstretched like this was a reunion, not a reckoning. Everyone, he said, this is Lila's brother. Let's welcome him. Applause. Confused. Thin. Like they didn't know whether to clap or call security. I held up the USB. Funny thing about weddings, I said. You spend so much time building a perfect day, you forget what's buried underneath it. Serena was already standing, whispering into a discreet mic on her wrist. 2 security guards approached from the side aisle. My exit routes narrowed. The property you're standing on, I said, louder now, was stolen. Through shell companies. Through forged documents. Using my name, my company, and my dead business partner's login. Gasps. A few people stood up. Beckett's eyes narrowed. I didn't want to ruin your day, I said, turning to Lila. But since you ruined my future, I thought we'd even the score. The lights cut. Not all of them. Just the overheads. Then, projectors hummed to life. The mirrored wall above the altar flickers. White screen. Then files. Real estate transfers. Signature overlays. Voice memos. Surveillance footage. Every line connected to Loden and Crown Holdings. Every timestamp traced back to Beckett Vale's office in Wilmington. He turned white. "Turn it off," Serena barked. The tech booth didn't respond. I kept talking. "You can fake a lot of things. A name. A smile. Even a will. But you can't fake timestamps from a federal property registry." A voice crackled over the ballroom intercom. "Mr. Holloway, you are required to exit the premises immediately. Authorities have been contacted." Beckett looked up, confusion creeping in. That wasn't Serena's voice. I smiled. "That's AMC. Asset Monitoring and Control Division. They've had eyes on Loden and Crown for 6 months." Cut scene. Backstage. Metal stairwell. I ran. Behind me, footsteps. Too many. I hit the sublevel door. My keycard still worked. Inside, flickering lights. Server stacks. Cooling vents. My old world. A figure stepped out from behind the terminal rack. Nolan Trent. Cyber investigator. Government subcontractor. Ex-friend. "Still snooping where you're not invited," I said. He tossed a small drive at me. I caught it. "Everything you leaked," he said. "We traced it. The funds were funneled to 2 accounts. One in Belize. One in Morristown." He nodded. "That's not Beckett," I said quietly. Nolan tilted his head. "No. It's someone deeper." "Who?" "Your father." Silence slammed into the room. "That's not possible. He's dead." "No. He faked it." I staggered back. "You didn't lose your company, Jace," Nolan said. "You were bait." Cut scene. Ballroom chaos. Beckett pushed past Lila, bolted toward the control booth. Security yelled. Guests scattered. One screen showed banking routes. Another, email drafts. My name forged. My password reset. My security questions answered by someone who knew everything about me. Cut. Lila ran into the bridal suite. She locked the door. Her hands trembled as she opened the drawer, hidden beneath the mirror. Inside, burner phone. Prepaid cards. USB. She stared at the screen. Texts from Serena. Transfer complete. He'll never find us. A pause. Then the bathroom light turned on by itself. She spun. Nothing. But someone had been there. The mirror fogged over slowly. 3 words appeared, finger traced across the condensation. He knows everything. She screamed. Security grabbed me 2 corridors down. Beckett shouted something behind them. I didn't resist. But I spoke one last thing. To a future we can't escape. They cuffed my wrists. Dragged me past the ballroom. Flashes. Journalists had made it past the gates. I smiled for the cameras. They stole my life. Now they'll pay for the interest. The cuffs were too tight. Sweat clung to the back of my neck as they shoved me into a waiting SUV, not a police cruiser. No lights, no sirens. Just 2 men in black suits, fake calm in their eyes. This isn't a real arrest, I said. Silence. I looked out the window. The venue disappeared behind us, swallowed by oaks and fog. No one called my name. No one chased. They didn't need to. I was already off-grid. I want a lawyer, I said. One of them turned. You already had one. You just didn't know he worked for us. Click. A needle slipped from a hidden port in the seat. My hand shot to it, too late. The world tilted. Darkness. Cut scene. I woke to humming lights, sterile air. A warehouse. Concrete floor. Chains bolted to the beams. No windows. I sat in a chair, wrists free now, but I wasn't stupid. 3 cameras watched me. Behind one, someone breathed. I could hear it. Slow. Measured. Are you recording this? I called out. No answer. I scanned the room. On the far wall, a screen flickered on. Footage. Grainy black and white. A hospital room. Beeping monitors. A man on a ventilator. My father. Not dead. Not even close. Lies age like wine in this family, I muttered. The door creaked open behind me. Footsteps. Heels. Slow, deliberate. Serena walked in, holding a file. Burgundy folder. Gold seal. What is this? I snapped. She dropped it on the table. Inside, signed documents. Transfer papers. Estate revisions. Trust reallocations. All signed by my father. All dated after his death. He never died, Serena said. He vanished. For a reason. He left everything to me, I hissed. She leaned closer. And when you started to deviate, he changed his mind. You forged this. No, she pointed to the fingerprint seals. He authorized every line. Cut. Flashback. 6 years ago. My father's study. Late at night. You don't win loyalty, Jace, he said. You enforce it. I had pushed the papers back. Loyalty isn't bought. It's earned. He looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. That was the last time we spoke. Now. Serena dropped a key on the table. You want revenge, she said. You're looking in the wrong direction. What does that mean? The theft, the signatures, the shell companies, Beckett didn't design it. He executed it. She paused. Your sister orchestrated everything. My breath froze. No. She approached me 6 months ago. Said she wanted full control of the Holloway estate. Said she was tired of the sick brother with Messiah syndrome. That's not true. She knew how to weaponize your silence. Your guilt. Your ego. She turned your exile into a legal opportunity. Cut. Phone buzz. Text appeared on the screen. We all watched you fall apart, Jace. But none of us expected you to come back dangerous. L. The screen shut off. I stood. You used my name. My company. My blueprints. You built an empire on the ruins of mine. Serena didn't flinch. We built a dynasty. You chose exile. You're forgetting something. What's that? I stepped toward her. I never stop recording. From my jacket, tiny mic. Still live. Streaming. Not to press. To AMC. And Nolan. A voice burst through the intercom. We're in. Full data dump in progress. Serena's face drained. I shoved the chair aside. The cameras turned toward the floor, jammed. Power cut. Dark. Shouts outside. Boots on gravel. Sirens, finally. I ran. Door slammed open. Nolan stood in the floodlight. Gun raised. Behind him, federal agents. Down, he yelled. Serena tried to run. Didn't make it far. Cut scene. Outside. Rain fell hard. My hands shook as I stepped into the van. Nolan climbed in after. You sure about this next part? He asked. I nodded. Let the Holloways burn themselves. We'll give them matches. A beat. Then I turned to him. Trace every account Lila opened in the last year. I want eyes on her now. Nolan raised a brow. Why? I looked back toward the warehouse. Because the person who knows the blueprint always knows where the cracks are. Rain hammered the asphalt like machine gun fire. Hands cuffed. Feet soaked. I stood outside the warehouse where it had all exploded. Sirens converged. Red and blue flared against slick pavement. You didn't think we'd let this go, Nolan said. His voice was calm. His eyes were not. We were in a black SUV idling at the curb. Cold air. Sharp tension. Neither did I said. A clock ticked in my head. Time was leaking. Nolan's phone buzzed. AMC. Asset Monitoring and Control. The agency wasn't here to arrest me. They were here to dismantle every shell company feeding Lila's accounts. Every wire. Every flagged transaction. They had subpoenas ready. Federal agents moved like chess pieces. They surrounded Highgrove Edge. We need you, Nolan said. Inside. I stepped out. Rain soaked through my jacket. The mansion loomed. Dark. Empty. Charged. Ellie Grant met us at the front steps. She was AMC's lead investigator. Eyes like ice. Voice flat. We've got probable cause for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit financial recklessness that endangered investors nationwide. Barely a breath. We also believe your sister has been funneling funds through third-party trusts tied to a Venezuelan lobbying group with ties to organized crime. My stomach hit my spine. A twist I didn't see. Not even close. Why would she? Ellie didn't wait. We have a warrant to search the estate's entire digital infrastructure. Flash. SD cards passed. Agents moved. I watched. Then saw someone watching us. Her. Lila. She stood under the broken portico. Black dress plastered to her skin. Eyes wild. Not scared. Counting. Calculating. I walked toward her. She didn't flinch. Her voice cut like ice chips. You think this ends with documents? Her breath was sharp. Dad taught me. A pause. She looked right at me. Blood remembers. That phrase hit deeper than thunder. Blood remembers, I repeated. A quote I once scoffed at. Now I felt it like a pulse. Dad gave me everything because I was the one who stayed. Her lip trembled. Not fear. Confidence. Wrong. Dead wrong. Before I could respond, her heel clicked. Fast steps. She turned. And sprinted inside. Cut. Inside the grand hall. Agents combed rooms. Screens flashed. Evidence logged. I followed. Saliva hit pavement. Cameras blinked overhead. Every frame recorded. We entered the ballroom. Mirrors cracked. From the wedding. Shards on the floor. A slow sting in my chest. Ellie walked past. One agent stopped dead. Kneeling. On the ground. A safe door. Half open. Inside, folders. Encrypted drives. One marked with my father's old code. Not burned. Not hidden. Humming. I reached for it. Don't, Ellie said. Her voice held both caution and dread. You sure? My finger hovered. Yes. I opened it. The screen lit. Documents. Video files. Audio logs. A name I didn't expect. Lila Holloway. Not Beckett. Not Serena. Lila. The first file played. Her voice. Calm. Confession. I've always been the heir, she said. Because blood remembers power better than loyalty. The room grew smaller. I felt it collapse. A shard of mirror stuck in my heel. A sting. And then a snap inside. She paused. Smiled. Saved the files to a remote drive. Sent copies to unknown accounts. Deleted originals. Cut. Agents clustered. They exchanged looks. Ellie said she knew we'd search here. I took a step back. The truth hit like ice. They weren't just reacting. They were prepared. A plan layered beneath a plan. Cold architecture. Corporate espionage. And familial war. A phone buzzed. Nolan. He looked down. AMC just got internal memos tied to Lila's lawyer. He's missing. A third twist. And now he was gone. That meant more than disgrace. It meant escape. Meaning danger. Diagnosis, someone had contingency. Too many unknowns. Every path forward was wrapped in knives. Down the hall. A door rattled. From the basement. Lila? No answer. I pushed. Cold stairwell. Concrete. Echoes. Halfway down, the footsteps. Slow. Measured. A silhouette. Then a line. Liquid on the floor. Red. Not rainwater. Blood. My breath caught. Step by step. Closer. A light flickered. Then steady. There she was. Lila. Hand shaking. Phone in the other. App open. Live stream. The ballroom. Agents frozen on screens. Behind them, laughter. A voice calm. Unfinished. Too slow. Then clarity came in a flash. Nice of you to join the finale, Jace. It was Beckett. In the control booth. Comfortable. Smiling. Like an audience member at a tragedy. My brain seized. His lips moved. Why fight what you can broadcast? A slow motion moment. He hit a button. Screens blazed. Across the compound. Live feeds. Public streams. News channels. Everything. The evidence we had. Twisted. Spun. Against us. Against AMC. Against every agency trained to dismantle fraud. Every file now showed Jace Holloway as the originator of every trust. Every wire. Every shell. Every hidden account. I staggered back. The room tilted. Beckett spoke again. Power isn't owned, Jace. He grinned. It's performed. A cut. A heartbeat. Silence. The screens went black. For half a second, the world held its breath. Then the backup feed kicked in. Not Beckett's. Mine. The ballroom monitors flared back to life, this time with a clean interface, timestamped, authenticated, watermarked by AMC and 2 federal courts that don't play games. Nolan's voice cut through the chaos, calm as a surgeon. Chain of custody confirmed. Original files verified. Tampered copies identified. Beckett's smile evaporated. Agents moved. Fast. Precise. The kind of movement you only see when warrants are airtight and someone's about to lose decades of freedom. Hands where I can see them. Beckett backed away, palms up, eyes darting toward the exits that no longer existed. The control booth door slammed open. 2 Two agents pinned him against the console. A third snapped cuffs on his wrists. He laughed once. Sharp. Desperate. You think this ends me? I stepped forward, the ache in my heel a steady reminder I was still bleeding. No, I said. It ends the lie. Cut. Down in the basement, Lila sank to her knees. The live stream still glowed on her phone, her confession looping, her words now a mirror she couldn't shatter. You taught me to survive, she whispered. You taught me to take. I knelt across from her. Not touching. Not comforting. Just present. Survival isn't theft, I said. It's choice. She looked up, mascara streaked, defiant even now. Dad chose me. Dad chose control, I said. There's a difference. Sirens layered outside, city police, federal units, the slow closing of a net that had been cast years ago. Serena was escorted past U.S., chin high, pearls gone. She didn't look at me. She didn't need to. Some people mistake silence for dignity. Cut. The arrest reports came fast. Fraud. Conspiracy. Wire transfers flagged across jurisdictions. Mandatory filings triggered with the SEC and state registries. The estate was frozen pending forfeiture hearings. Beckett's lawyer arrived too late and left early. Nolan leaned beside me as agents boxed evidence. Your father's not in the wind, he said. He surfaced when the money stopped. Panama. Extradition's moving. I nodded. Relief didn't come. Just gravity. People like him think legacy is a vault, I said. It's not. It's a trail. Outside, dawn edged the sky. The rain softened to mist. Highgrove Edge looked smaller in daylight, less fortress, more house. Less myth. A reporter shouted my name. I didn't answer. Ellie Grant approached, tablet in hand. You're clear, she said. Your name's clean. Public record will reflect it by noon. And the venue? I asked. She gave a thin smile. Owned by a trust you set up years ago. The clause everyone missed, reversion upon fraudulent conveyance. Judges love clauses. I exhaled. Slow. Power isn't owned, I said quietly. It's accounted for. Cut. Weeks later, the ballroom was empty. No flowers. No cameras. Just light pouring through repaired windows, dust floating like snow. I stood under the rebuilt chandelier, listening to the room breathe. They mocked me at my sister's wedding. They didn't know I owned the place. The venue. Their future. Ownership didn't feel like victory. It felt like responsibility. I signed papers. Public ones this time. Highgrove Edge reopened as a foundation, legal aid on the first floor, financial literacy upstairs, mediation rooms where families could break things safely instead of bleeding in secret. We hired locals. We listened. A quote I'd heard once came back to me, you don't escape your past by burning it. You escape by building something that doesn't need it. Nolan stopped by before leaving town. You okay? He asked. I'm finished, I said. That's different. He nodded. Left. That night, alone, I played the last message recovered from my father's drive. His voice was tired. Smaller than I remembered. If you're hearing this, he said, then control failed me. Don't repeat it. I didn't respond. Some conversations end without replies. I locked the drive in a glass case in my office, evidence of a war we wouldn't refight. Outside, guests walked the grounds without knowing my name. That was fine. Real money doesn't scream. Real peace whispers. I turned off the lights. In the dark, the room held steady. The future didn't belong to blood or lies or names carved into stone. It belonged to whoever was willing to build and tell the truth while doing it.